Hello everybody and welcome to a very out of time announcement, but it's an announcement nonetheless. This is for the second capital class tourney. Well, the Reassembly second capital class tournament. I mean, this could be the second capital class tournament of whatever the hell, but this is specifically Reassembly. So this is a bi-factional warships tournament. Best of both worlds. So we'll get to that in a second. An extraordinary event has occurred. Factions from all across the universe have begun to band together in some megalithic stand against an ever-increasing onslaught of fresh races sprung from the very torn fabric of the reality that encircles them, the modded, as they are called. You, Commander, are one of those vanilla faction captains of the new united factions, and it's time to kick tail. So basically, okay, so first of all, it's a bi-factional tournament. You have a 38,000p max fleet cost, you have 35 max fleet size, and here's the kicker, you have faction choices. You can go T plus B, whatever, okay, Terran plus B, Beeran. You must use the Terran core. You can go Farmer and Sentinel, Farminel. You must use the Farmer core, or you must go Red plus Crystaline, which we call Crystaline. You can use either core. Tinkeral are banned because Tinkeral are overpowered. And so basically the idea behind this is, let me just load up Reassembly quickly. Right, now that we are safely within the confines of the reassemblification. Dun 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 dun. Let us enable the sandbox. Go in, close things, paletta, what? It's Farmer, no, okay, so it's Terran and Bee. Oh, I forgot to say, okay, so by the way, shout out to Owlfeather's Expanded Armory mod. But let me just quickly disable that. Right, let's try that again. So here we have the Terran palette and the Bee palette. Now this is one of the faction combinations, the Beeran, where you can use the Terran command center, Terran blocks, and Bee blocks. You may not use the Bee subcore or the Terran station commander, right? You can't use those silly things. You only use the Terran command module. So you can build stuff in here, and okay, and anyway, these blocks need to be part of the unlock. I will get to that in a bit, but you get the idea. You can combine. Let's grab some Terran plasmas. You can build a ship with both Terran and Bee equipment if you want, and then just you can have fun with that. If you want to know how the sandbox works, I have a very old tutorial on it, but if you want a very quick overview, press on your keyboard, press number 3, and that will activate build mode. And then you can move stuff, delete it, press Z to undo it, X to delete it. You can hold Alt and click and drag, and you can copy things, you can rotate them with Q and E, and you can build your ship in the sandbox just as you would in campaign. If you want to bring up a specific palette, you go palette, and then just go through all the numbers, and you'll quickly figure out which faction is for which number. Thank you, just like this. There's no issue with trial and error. Just do it. Okay, and you can see I've now brought up all the different palettes, and you can tell which belongs to which. So here we have the Crystaline. What is this? Ignore the extra weird stuff. That's from a mod. We'll take the normal one, the power conduit, the plasma diffractor, and ignore the root. Whatever, we'll just take it as well, because why the hell not? Anyway, parts need to be part of the vanilla unlockable palette, regardless. And then we have the red, of whom together make the Crystaline. And so this is another one of the faction combinations. So we have Terran Bee, Crystal Red, we have Farmer, Sentinel. So let's just put Farmer Sentinel down there. Fantastic. These are your combinations. So Crystal Red, of course, Farmer Sentinel, and Terran Bee. Now I'm going to just say this. Terran thrusters are Bee thrusters are the best thing in the universe. You have impulse thrusters and maneuver thrusters. The difference is which one? Maneuver thrusters have an 8 times thruster boost, whereas normal impulse thrusters just have a high thrust. In comparison, Terran thrusters have a lower thrust, first of all, and they don't have a boost time. Now, boost time means that as it goes, it'll multiply by that amount. So every one, I believe that's a second or a tick or whatever, but thruster boost time, you see it's set to 1. Every one, either that's a second or it's a tick, I'm not entirely sure. I believe it's actually a tick, but whatever. It's every little, well, we have update. If you're running 60 updates per second, every, every 1/6 of a second will go up, and it'll multiply by the next amount, and so you'll have that number times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5, times 6, times 7, 8, whatever. Whatever. I never play around with thruster boost, so I'm not that knowledgeable, sadly. I probably sound like an idiot to anyone that knows what they're doing, regardless of such things, however. And I'm a modder. How sad. Anyway, so that's just a little thing to be aware of. And of course, we have all the stuff here. You may not use Sentinel command call, you may not use Bee command call, okay, because their power is incredibly powerful. Their power is powerful. They generate a lot of energy, alright? Okay, enough of this. So you get the general gist of it. You can build it in here. Press 3 and you can build something. Then once you have built something, select it, type export, and then the name of the ship that you want. Put it in quotation marks. This keeps the name together. Say the Stein of Franken. The Stein of Franken. Export it as whatever your name is. Lapse. So just you can select it either in construct mode. If you press 2 on your keyboard, you'll enter command mode, and you can select the whole thing very easily. Just press enter. It'll export it to your desktop. Then just grab that thing, and you can import it into the tournament and make a fleet and figure it out. There is a Reassembly Discord. You can ask me questions, ask lots of people questions. You can figure out if you have questions, go ask them. Trust me, it's very fun, very easy to get into this sort of stuff. Okay, let's go back to my list of things. Right. So, all right. First of all, so you're now fully aware of the faction choices and how to make that work and how to build the thing. Okay, fine. Now we have the ship rules. So first of all, naturally, we have the Orion-Class Capital Ship. Each fleet must have one 16,000p Orion-Class Capital Ship. This is quite an ask for some people, because most people never really build ships that huge. And some tournament veterans are like, saying that huge? That sounds horribly inefficient. It's hilarious. Anyway, so the capital ship must exceed the speed of the NMSS evaluation fleets. Move faster than me ship. So NMSS is Mons Pubis's little... is his monthly tournament that he runs. And he has an evaluation fleet. I'll put a link to it in the description below, just so you don't have to go nose around for it. But it's just download the fleet, make a little thing, just figure it out. I'm sure you can. The capital may exceed the max radius of a limit of 2,000. To a limit of 2,000. I must make that very clear. So most ships, without a mod, you can't really build ships bigger than 1,000 radius. But there are mods you can go find on the workshop that'll increase the ship build limit. There are a variety of them, some do it better than others, so just have a nose around. You may exceed the build radius up to a limit of 2,000. How do you check build radius? Well, if you have a ship and you press 2 on your keyboard, command mode, select the ship and look down to the right, you see radius, bounding. You're concerned about the bounding radius. The bounding radius is this circle radius, whereas the core radius is this square. And was it Okay, I think I'm confused. It doesn't matter, but care about the bounding radius. That's more important than anything else. That's the go-to radius look. Now, if you're concerned about speed, you look here and you see max acceleration 5.1. That's purely due to this little thing's innate thrust on it. If I give it a couple impulse thrusters, we can see this number tick up vastly. Now its max acceleration is 10,958, so it can move quite quickly. And it's a spinner, which is not allowed. Your ships are not allowed to spin like this at all. Your ships have to go in a linear line. They're not allowed to do spin as a method of propulsion in the tournaments, purely because that is incredibly overpowered. Right, next up. Whatever. The next up we have Alpha class ships. Now these are your your next level down in terms of size. So each fleet can have up to up to, no more. You may have less. You can have one. You can have one or two. Okay, you can have up to 2 8000p Alpha class warships. Okay, so Alphas must be faster than the capital ship. So their max acceleration must be faster than the capital ship's max acceleration. Alright? Alright. Next up, they must be smaller, so their bounding radius must be smaller than the capital ship's bounding radius. Alright. Then we have the beta kind classes. Now, these are the smallest and the fastest ships in your fleet. Each fleet may spend any of the remaining funds on ships valued at or under 3000p. So beta/kinds must be faster than the alpha ships, so their max acceleration must be faster than these guys. They must be smaller than the alpha ships. Their bounding radius must be smaller than these guys. They must be. Otherwise I will disqualify them absolutely and send them back to you. Alright, now we have the universal laws, which is basically just a fancy way of saying rules that apply to everything. All blocks must be part of the vanilla unlockable campaign palette of that faction. So for example, the Terrans have what we call a transformer, which doesn't really do anything. They also have it's actually not here, but either way, you can't use this block. Neither can you use the station core, because you can't unlock it and you can't build with it normally, you know. And you can't build with more than one command module because you can't unlock them and you can't get them in your palette. All right, is that your campaign palette? So when you're playing the game normally in single player, all right. Similarly, the farmers have asteroid bits. All right. Asteroid bits. Can't remember if those are actually in the palette or not, but you get the idea. If it's not on the palette, if it's not unlockable within the campaign, you can't use it. Alright? Comprende? Fantastic. So no being cheeky there. Let's go next. All ships must have at least one weapon. They have to have one little pew-pew gun. This is to deter troll ships, but I mean the minimum speed requirement deters troll ships anyway. So, time dilation rule. Now, your fleet will be tested against itself in a 120 updates per second environment. If it takes longer than 2 minutes to run a 1 minute round, I will reserve the right to veto your fleet. So, if we quit out, options, physics update per second 120, go into tournament, give me a second, and verse 2 ships against each other, they must, in a they must be able to fight each other. So if you're timing this on your phone or whatever, if you have a stopwatch, and you time it, the battle must, be within 2 minutes at least. Because if you have certain big ships and you have lots of drones and stuff, they can slow down the game, and it can take 2 minutes to run 1 minute, and that's just, at that point it becomes very, very unpleasant in a tournament environment. I didn't check my sound level, so I'm very uncertain about it. Anyway, so you get the idea. Otherwise, I might just veto it. Also, now banned stuff. Asteroid thrusters are banned. It's the 18p 100k thrust Terran asteroid thrusters. So if I go into sandbox, remove this, paletta, 8, it's these big guys, the increased mobility asteroid relocation size. You may not use those. Secondly, super thrusters of the Farmer are also banned. So Farmer super thrusters are not 4, 2. Are these guys. These things are stupid. They provide 500,000 thrust at 23p. This thing is more, but it's incredibly heavy, so it sort of negates itself in a slight way. Thing's mass, yeah. But what's its health? Where's its health? I can't remember it. Density. Oh yeah, this thing is 17,000. This thing is 5710. I mean, that is stupidly high health HP. So most people usually end up using these thrusters as armor, which is the annoying thing. That's why they're banned. Then we have the nuclear option by the Sentinels. It is banned. When is this? Okay, let's remove this thing there. It is banned, absolutely and completely banned. All warships require weapons module. I've said this once already. Stacking of blocks is physically impossible. All blocks must be replaceable without ship-wide annihilation. So, what does this mean? Well, it means that if you have a little command core here, oh, here's the teleporter, telespawn. Yeah, this thing is absolutely not allowed. And let's say that you have a bunch of hull. Yes, I'm doing that just to annoy people with OCD, because that could easily be a square, but I'm not going to do it. No shame, I just didn't even realize. Anyway, so if I do that, and I do this, and I do this, okay, now I'm going to actually just pull that out, stick this here, and attach. You may not do this, you may not hack the game like this, alright? You may not do cheeky stuff. But what you are allowed to do is stack thrusters. You are allowed to stack thrusters. You're allowed to, take a couple little thruster things and do that. You're allowed to do that. The one requirement is that it may not be within, inside of other blocks. You may not have this thing stacked inside of a bloody thing. So to explain that a little better, let's say that you have these things. Okay, that just happened. On this, and let's actually just get this better set up. Say that you have it like this. You may not do this. You may not have thrusters stacked inside your blocks. That's not allowed. Alright? Alright, fantastic. So that's that. However, enhanced engine bank designs are allowed. I've already gone over that. You can stack thrusters in thrusters and have them slightly clip walls, but they may not be inside another non-thruster block. So they may not be as this. Alright? Fantastic. No astro thrusters. I've already said this. Spinners are disallowed, as liquidation of crew is ill-advised. No ships may spin when moving. So basically, as I have shown you before, this ship would actually, is it going to work as a spinner? It will actually, because it's got a weight offset. You see, this is how it wants to go. It wants the spin as a method of propulsion, and spinning is incredibly powerful as a tactic, because you can hurtle, you can hurl weapons and, not weapons, you can hurl missiles and things at incredible speeds, incredible velocities. You can shoot at incredible velocities. Also, since you're spinning, you're constantly moving your hull on the outside, so you basically, as things try to damage you, your hull just, very kind of difficult to explain, I suppose. But as someone is shooting you from this direction, hurts this hull, but now the whole thing turns, and now a different chunk of hull is showing. Pow! Bah! Hits that. Turns a little more. Hits something else. Keeps turning. Hits something else. Keeps turning. Maybe it hits the same thing, but by then it's probably healed itself. So it really does make a little bit more difficult in terms of dealing damage to things. And also those things that are just kind of standing there can often get bashed and smacked and whatever the hell else. So it's just annoying and not very fun at all. All warships must match or exceed acceleratory capacities of the NMS's evaluation fleet. So you need to be as fast as Mons is, move faster than me ship. ReassemblyErect Tournament Mod will be used. Yes, that sounds dirty. It isn't. Sorry, Mons, because Mons also has a tournament mod. By the way, this is due in 5 days. Did I mention that? I know, I'm a horrible human being. I forgot to announce this as a video. I realized far too late that I announced this about, what, 30 days ago? Sometime. In the Reassembly Discord and in my Discord. So if you didn't catch on, I'm sorry. So now you can, once you're done with your... Because by the way, this mod basically does a lot of balancing. It buffs shields a bit. So go find it. It should be right on the front page, or if it's not on the right front page of the Steam, just go search. I'll provide a link in the description as well. But yeah, so due date is the 4th. It'll be executed on the 5th of May, and then it'll be streamed and uploaded to YouTube. The execution will be at this time, SAST. So I can't really do it. Whatever. Okay, moving on. We don't have daylight savings in South Africa, so you don't need to worry about adding an hour or subtracting an hour or whatever the hell else. So yeah, this is the execution time. You have 5 days. Go for it, gentlemen or gentle ladies. Okay, anyway. You can, once you're done, you can submit your ships to me at either laps@gmail or via Discord PM. So if you're on my Discord server or on any of the Discord servers that I'm on, you can just send a message to me via that. And yeah, it'll be streamed and uploaded to YouTube. Very, very indeed, gentlemen. Forever we are victorious. I should probably provide an example composition. Give me a second. Right, so here's an example fleet. We have 3 ships. We have a 16,000 P ship, we have an 8,000 P ship, and we have a ship under 3,000 P. Now, this ship is the slowest, this ship is medium, and this ship is the fastest. This ship is the biggest, this ship is the medium size, and this ship is the smallest. Now, we haven't actually maxed out our P allowance, so let's just go a little bit. That's as close as... Wait, what was it again? What was it again? I can't even remember. It's 28,000. It is 28,000. Yeah, exactly. I told you. 28,000. 35 ships max. So as you can see, by using 2 of these, I had still a little bit of space extra for some smaller ships. This was by design because I still wanted to leave space for a few small. You could fill this with 100 P ships up to the maximum, and you probably should, because it always helps to have a bit of distraction. Or you can just remove all of these and just fill it with these, you know. But that's, you know, entirely up to you. Then you can just. Now this here is a completely invalid fleet, but who cares, am I right? Yeah, you're right. Let's just launch it anyway. These are the ancient little Feralders that I made when I first started playing Reassembly. They have such a strange form, and then we have I spelled galaxy wrong, who cares? Anyway, and then they're going to fight each other. As long as they take under 2 minutes to run a 1 minute round, they'll be legitimate. The actual rounds will be 2 minutes to 3 minutes, depending on, you know, how I feel on the day. And it'll be best of 3. No, yeah, it'll be 3 rounds, best of 3 minutes, I think. Best of 3 rounds. It'll be in a 3 minute threshold. Anyway, you get the idea. These poor for the capital C's are getting their butts handed to them, but because they have so many shields, they're actually kind of resilient, in a sense. Sometimes. Shields are usually a bad idea, but that's beyond the point. Fight on, my mighty Feralders. Go! Oh, they're not even really Feralders, they're sort of... I need to give these like a proper name. Because they aren't even, I mean, they kind of look like a Feralder, they've got like this cool thing and... Whatever, who cares? Moving along. So yeah, that's that. I say good luck to you, ladies and gentlemen. And until next time, everybody. Cheery, reary-o.